Very good afternoon to all my dear children. Analytics powered virtual interactive classes. So, how are you all? Great. So, today we will continue our chapter yesterday, which one we have studied. Okay. So, the chapter name is Electricity, Magnetic and Heat Effect. So, yesterday we studied that how the magnetic field produce, how generates when electricity passes through a wire, isn't it? So when the magnetic field generates and if we put a magnetic, then there is a deflection in the needle, isn't it? So, and again we have seen another concept that if we place a bar magnet in front of the magnetic compass, then also there is a. So today we will continue with some new concepts. Okay. So students, are you ready for the class? Okay, then let's begin our today's class. See, let's see what we have on the screen. See, here on the screen it is said that why do we use an iron nail? Iron nail means what? This one, like this, yesterday we have seen iron nail, isn't it? Like this structure is called the iron nail, isn't it? So, here it is said that why do we use an iron? We make a wire carrying electric current without an iron nail. Now the question is that can't we make a magnet only by using a wire where the electricity passes without an iron nail? So let's see what is next. This one is a what? Flexible insulated wire. 100 centimeter insulated wire means flexible insulated wire means the wire through which the electricity easily passes. Such wires are called flexible insulated wires. Okay. Now here comes the electric cell, chart paper pies, iron nail, magnetic compass. So all these are raw materials we require to perform one experiment. So we will do one experiment now, and for this experiment we need all these raw materials. Okay, so let's see how to perform this activity. See, here it is given that roll the chart paper into a cylinder with a diameter equal to the width of a pencil. Means as we have one chart paper, so roll the chart paper in such a way that the diameter of the chart paper becomes almost half equal to the width of the pencil. Width of the pencil means what? Like suppose this is one of the pencil. Okay, this is the width of the pencil, like this much. This is the width. Okay, so till this width of the pencil we will roll the chart paper. Okay, then comes what? Secure it with adhesive tape, because when we roll the chart paper we will see that one side of the chart paper remains open. To close that part we will tape the chart paper with the tape. Okay, and then comes tightly wind about 50 tons of the insulated wire around the cylinder to form a cylindrical coil. Secure the wire with adhesive tape. Now it is said that we have one chart paper and we have the insulated wire. Then tightly wind this insulated wire till about 50 tons. Means you will roll the insulated wire around the surface of the chart paper in such a way that it forms a shape of cylindrical coil. Okay, this one is a chart paper and roll the wire in such a way that it forms a shape of the cylindrical coil. Okay, then with one part of the wire will remain part of the coil in such a way we have this part, we have one larger portion of the wire, and this part we are left with the larger portion of the wire. In both the part we will secure the wire with tape. Okay. Then comes what? Place the compasses near the two ends of the cylindrical coil. Because this one is now cylindrical coil, isn't it? This one is the what? This one is the cylindrical coil. Now we will put two magnetic compasses on the two sides of the cylinder. Okay. Then what comes? Then connect the to the terminals of the cell and observe the as we have one cell and this cell is connected with the cell holder, two ends of the wire. Now we will connect these two ends of the wire to this cell holder. Okay, and after connecting, we will observe the what changes it takes place in the magnetic compass. Magnetic compass means this one. These devices are what? These devices are magnetic compass. So we will observe this. See, as soon as we have connected the two ends of the wire to the cell holder, there is a deflection in the magnetic compass, isn't it? Let me play for you again. See, as soon as we have connected these two ends of the wire, the in the magnetic compass, this needle, this is the what? This is the needle. This needle changes its position. That is called deflection. Again, you see, yes. As soon as we have connected the two ends of the wire, there is a deflection in the magnetic compass. Okay. Now, what comes? Do the needles of the compasses show any deflection? Now, children, tell me. Now, do the needle of the compasses show any deflection? Yes, as soon as we connect the two ends of the wire to the cell, there is a deflection in the magnetic compass. Why deflection? Because electricity passes through the wire and the magnetic field generates in the wire. That's why there is a deflection in the magnetic compass. Okay. See, now it is said that disconnect the wire from the cell. Now it is said to disconnect the wire from the cell. Okay, let us disconnect it. See, as soon as we disconnect the two ends of the wire from the cell, we again see that the needle of the compass gets back to its original position. Okay, before in which position the needle of the compass was there? When we connect the two wires to the cell, that time the deflection takes place. But when we disconnect the wire, again the needle of the compass gets back to its original position. See, let me play for you again. See, when we disconnect the wire from the electric cell, the needle gets back to its original position. See, yeah, you have seen before the needle was there in which position? Before the needle was there in that position. Okay, but as soon as we disconnect the wire, it gets back to its position. So, let's see what we have. Now, do the needles return to their original positions? Now tell me, do the needles return to their original positions? Very good. Yes, the needle return to their original position. Now, it is said that now insert an iron nail into the paper cylinder and repeat the activity. Before, we have done the activity without the iron nail. Okay, without the iron nail, only the paper cylinder, electric cell and the two magnetic compass. Now it is said that to insert the iron nail in between the paper cylinder and then observe what's in the magnetic compass. Okay, so let's now when we have connected the two wires, there is a major deflection. Okay, before there is a slight deflection, but when we put the iron nail inside the cylindrical paper and when we connect the two wires, the electricity passes through the wire and then the deflection occurs larger. Okay, see, let me repeat it again. See, before position of the needle was this part. Okay, Before, the position of the needle was this part, but when we connect the wires after putting the iron nail inside the paper, the deflection occurs this range. Deflection occurs in this range. Okay, let me first again you see, let me play it again. See, before the deflection was on the vertical plane of yellow color, and then when we connect the wires in the electric cell, the deflection occurs horizontally. Okay, see. Okay, is there any difference in the deflection of the compass needle? Is there any difference now in the deflection of the compass needle? Yes, there is a difference. See, but when we again disconnect the wire, the needle gets back to its original position, isn't it? See, when the when the electric wire was connected, the needle was in this position. But when we disconnect the wire, the needle gets back to this position. Again, you can observe it. Let me play it again. See, okay, when the wires are connected to the electric cell, the needle remains in the horizontal position. But as soon as we disconnect the wire from the electric cell, the needle gets back to its original position, that is vertical position. Okay. So now it is said that place some iron paper clips near the two ends of the nail and connect the cell. Now it is said that place some iron paper clips in the two ends of the iron nail, and then you again give the connection to the electric cell and see what happens. Okay, see. When after putting some iron nails on the two ends of the paper chart paper, and if we connect the wire to the electric cell, what happens? The electricity passes through the wire, and then what happens? The iron clips get attracted towards the iron nail, isn't it? See, again you can see. See, as soon as we give the connection, the iron clips gets attracted towards the iron nail. Why it gets attracted? Why? Because electricity passes through the wire and it generates electric field. Because of this electric field, the iron clips get attracted towards the iron. Okay. See. Now, are the clips attracted to the ends of the iron? Now it is said that are the iron clips get towards the end of the iron? Yes, see, all these iron clips got attracted towards the end of the iron. Now we can say that when electric current flows through the cylindrical coil, it behaves like a magnet and deflects the needle of a magnetic compass. Means we have seen in the activity that whenever a electric current passes through an insulated wire, that times what happens? The deflects. Why it deflects? Because as the electric current passes through the wire, it behaves like a magnet. That's why the needle of the compass deflects. Okay. Now, when an iron nail is inserted inside the coil, the magnetic effect becomes much stronger and the compass needle shows greater deflection. But what happens if we put the iron nail in? If the iron nail is inserted into the chart paper, what happens? When electric current passes through this wire, then the deflection occurs in a greater range. Why? Because the magnetic effect becomes much stronger. As much stronger the magnetic effect, as the greater the deflection. The weaker the magnetic effect, the smaller the deflection. Okay, because if the magnetic effect becomes stronger, the deflection will occur better. But if the magnetic effect becomes weaker, the deflection will occur in a smaller range. Okay. See, in this case, what happened? See, here in the first picture, when the electric current passes through the coil, the needle deflects smaller because the iron nail is not inserted into the chart paper. The magnetic deflection is weaker. See, that's why the deflection occurs in up to this much. Okay, but what happened when the iron nail is inserted into the coil? The magnetic effects become stronger. That's why the deflection occurs in this range. Before the deflection was this much, and after when the nail is inserted into the paper, the deflection was this much. Okay, let's see. Now, when the current is switched off, the cylindrical coil loses its magnetic effect. But when the current is switched off, there is no flow of electricity. That time what happened? The magnetic effect loses. Okay, and that's why the needle gets back to its original position. When there is a flow of the current, the needle deflects because the magnetic field generates. And when there is no flow of the current, when the circuit is switched off, the needle gets back to its original position because there is no magnetic field. Okay, these are the two cases. And the third one is that if we insert an iron nail in the chart paper, means in insulated wire, if we insert a iron nail, then the deflection occurs in a greater range. Why? Because the magnetic field which generates is of stronger. That's why the deflection occurs in a much larger range. Okay. So, a current carrying coil that behaves like a magnet is called an electromagnet. Now, this one is the new term, electromagnet. Till now, we have studied about coil, about magnet, about magnetic field. But this one is one new term, electromagnet. Okay. So, it is said that when any current carrying coil behaves like a magnet, then that coil is called the substance is called the. Okay. If it behaves like a magnet, this substance was a substance are called electromagnet. Okay. Here, for practical applications, most electromagnets use an iron core to make them stronger. Means, for some practical applications, most of the electromagnets uses iron core to make them much stronger. In this case, to make the magnetic field much stronger, what we use? We use this iron nail. Okay. So, for many practical applications, such electromagnets uses some iron core materials to make a magnetic field stronger. Okay. So here's a note down. A current coil that behaves as a magnet is called an electromagnet. So any current carrying coil that behaves like a magnet, such coils are called electromagnet. How did it behaves like a magnet? Because as soon as when the electricity passes through this wire, the current carrying coil behaves like a magnet. That's why only the needle gets deflected from its original position. If the current carrying coil does not behave like a magnet, then there won't be any deflection in the needle. Okay. So, for practical applications, most electromagnets have an iron core to make them stronger. Means, for any kind of practical applications, most electromagnets have an iron core to make the magnetic field much stronger. Okay. So, students, now it's your question time. Let's see what question you have. So, what is the main advantage of an electromagnet over a permanent magnet? Okay. Option 1, it is always stronger than a permanent magnet. Option B, it can be turned on and off whenever required. And option C, it does not require any electricity. And option D, it can attract non-magnetic materials like plastic. So I will give you a 30-second of timer and you need to give the correct option. Okay, just think what I have studied, what I have taught you. So you can give the answer. So your time starts now. I can see many of you have given the correct option. So others, please keep answering. Just think a little bit. Use your concept. So here your time's up. So I can see many of you have given the correct option. Very good. So the correct option is which one? Correct option is option B. So let me discuss the question with you. What is the main advantage of an electromagnet over a permanent magnet? So the option is option B, because as we have used the electromagnet, so it can be turned on and off whenever required, isn't it? Because the current carrying coil, we have understood this one is electromagnet because it behaves like a magnet. That current carrying coil behaves like a magnet, so this is considered as an electromagnet. So we can turn on and off whenever required this current carrying coil. So this is the main advantage of electromagnet. Okay. Now, the second question is, what are the other ways to change the strength of an electromagnet? Because now we have studied that only if we insert an iron nail in the coil, insulated coil, then the magnetic fields become stronger. The electromagnets become stronger. But what are the other ways? Only one we have studied. Now we will study some other ways which can strengthen the electromagnet. Okay. See, here what happened? We have shortened the insulated wire and we have connected the battery almost nearer to this insulated wire, isn't it? What is said that increasing the number of turns in the coil makes the electromagnet stronger. In the previous case, what was that? We have given a number of turns in the coil. We have given a number of turns in the coil, but as compared to now, it was a lesser number of turns in the coil. Because the what? Because the electric cell was hanging this part. In this part, the electric cell was hanging, isn't it? See, in this part. In this part, the electric cell was hanging. So the number of turns in the coil was lesser, isn't it? And now what happened? Now the electric cell is hanging this part. That means what? The number of turns in the coil is increased. So if we increase the number of turns in the coil, the electromagnet becomes stronger. Okay. See, another case is that here also we are connecting the cell with a more number of batteries. Okay, in the previous slide also you have seen we are connecting the insulated wire to the two batteries. So if we increase the number of electric cell and we connect this electric cell in insulated wire, then also the electromagnet becomes stronger. Okay, see. Here it is said that a single cell provides only a small amount of current. So the magnetic field produced is weak. As a result, the deflection of the compass needle is small. Here we are using a single cell, isn't it? And even the number of turns in the coil is less. Okay. So if we use a single cell battery, single electric cell, then the magnetic field which generates around the wire is of weak. If the magnetic field generated is weaker, then the deflection will be smaller. Okay, I said you before that if the magnetic field which generates is weaker, there will be less deflection in the needle. So in this case, as we have used only a single cell, that means there is a less amount of current which are flowing through the wire because this is single cell. So the magnetic field which generates is of weaker. Why weaker? Because less amount of current is flowing through this wire. And what happens? If the magnetic field is weaker, then the deflection also in the needle is also small. Okay. Now what happened? A battery with more cells provides a larger current compared to a single cell. This produces a stronger magnetic field. So the compass needle shows greater deflection. But what happened in this case? In this case, we have gave a battery with more number of cells. As we gave a battery with more number of cells, in that case, the electricity which passes is of larger amount. Okay, the electricity which passes through the wire is of larger amount. If the larger amount of electricity passes through the wire, that means what? The magnetic field which generates is of stronger, and much the stronger of the magnetic field, more will be the deflection. Okay, so let me explain you again. Means if we give a battery consists of more number of electric cell, in that case what it happens? It happens the electricity which passes through the wire is of large amount. Why large amount? Because more number of electric cells we are using here. Okay, so as a large amount of electric current is passing through the wire, that means what? The magnetic field which generates around the wire is much stronger. So if the magnetic field generates is of much stronger, then the deflection in the needle is also greater. Okay, so we have got two types, that if we use a single cell battery, that means the electric current which flows through the wire is of small amount. If the electric current flows is a small amount, then the magnetic field which generates is of weaker. If the magnetic field is weaker, the deflection is smaller. Okay, and if we use a battery consisting of more number of cells, that means what happens? The electricity which flows through the wire is a large amount of electricity flows through the wire, because more number of electric cells we are giving. So if large amount of electricity flows through the wire, the magnetic field which generates around the wire is of stronger. Okay, if the magnetic field is stronger, that means the deflection is also greater. Okay, so these are the two concepts we have seen. See, in this way we can strengthen the electromagnet. So thus the strength of an electromagnet can be changed by changing the amount of electric current flowing through the coil, the number of turns, or both. So in these three ways we can change the strength of the electromagnet. Okay, the first one is by increasing the number of coils in the increase the number of coils in the turns. Okay, increase the number of turns in the coil. And the second one is by giving a more large number of electric cells, so that the large amount of electric current can be passes through the wire. Okay, so children, now it's your second question. Let's see what question we have. Which of these actions will increase the strength of electromagnet? The option A, removing the iron core. Option B, decreasing the number of turns of the coil. Option C, using a plastic core instead of an iron core. And option D, increasing the current flowing through the wire. Okay, so children, you need to give the right answer, because just now we have studied. So I will give you a 30-second of timer and you need to give the correct option. Okay, so your time start now. I can see many of you have given the correct option. Others, please keep answering. You have only 10 seconds left. We have studied how we can increase the strength of the electromagnet. So your time's up. So I can see many of you have given the correct option. Very good. That means you are observing the class in concentration. Okay. So the correct option is option D. So just now we have studied that we can increase the strength of the electromagnet. One is by what? One is by increasing the number of turns. Other is what? By increasing current flowing in the wire. Okay. So the correct option is increasing the current flowing through the wire. So the third one is that does the electromagnet also have two poles like a bar magnet? Okay. Let's see. This one is for this one level the two ends of the coil as A and B. We will level the two ends of the coil as A as B. Then it says place the magnetic of the coil. Now we will place one magnetic compass in the near the end A. Okay. Then connect the coil to the cell and observe the compass. Now we will connect the wire to the electric cell. Okay. And then observe the coil. See. Which pole of the magnet compass is attracted towards end A? Which pole? Means this blue one is the south pole and this red part is the north pole. So as soon as we connect the wire to the electric cell, the north pole gets attracted towards the point A. Okay, let's see again. You see, as soon as we connect the wire, the north pole gets attracted towards the end A. Then what happens? This is the what? This is the north pole. Then unlike poles attract each other, and we all have studied that unlike poles means two different poles will attract each other. See, this side is a north pole. That means what? That means A will be which pole? Two different poles, and we have what? We have only two poles. We have no two poles. One is north pole and the other is the south. If the north pole is attracted towards point A, that means what? Point A is which? Point A is the south pole. See, point A is the south. So, let's see. Now repeat the activity to find the polarity of end B as well. Till now we have seen the polarity of end A and now we will find the polarity of end B. Again put the magnetic compass and then connect the wire into the cell. Then we can see that there is a deflection in the magnetic compass when we have connected the wire into the electric cell. So this part is what? Blue part. This one is the south pole. So which pole? B is the which pole? Because we opposite poles attract. So B is the which pole? Very good. B is the north pole. See, the north pole. Because this, as soon as if we bring the magnetic compass in front of the that what happens? The part of the needle gets attracted towards this needle, and we all know this blue is the what? South pole. That means what? The option B is the north pole. Okay. We have understood that even the electromagnet also have two poles. As a bar magnet has two poles, north pole and the south pole. Similarly, the electromagnet also have the two poles. One is the north pole and the other is the south pole. And now only we have understood with the help of one activity. Okay, so that's all for your today's class. I hope all of you have understood it. So do revise it in your home, because if you don't study, you will forget it. Okay, so stay home and stay happy, stay healthy. Bye.